In the letters characterized by Ranneberger as coming from the highest levels of the U.S. government and signed by the U.S. Assistant Secretary for African Affairs, Johnny Carson, the government officials are warned that, "I am writing to inform you that your future relationship with the United States is directly linked to the degree of your support for urgent implementation of the reform agenda, as well as clear opposition to the use of violence." Due to Kenya's apparent failure to heed warnings during 2 visits by Johnny Carson, a visit by the U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, as well as a statement by President Obama himself, Ranneberger says the U.S. is tired of talking and has decided to act.
Johnny Carson came to Kenya with a senior person from the National Security Council in May. Johnny Carson came again in July. That should have been a signal right off the bat to the Kenyan government of our seriousness. Secretary Clinton came with a very tough message, and now we're taking some action.
Some of the 15 individuals in government accused of standing in the way of reforms will also be slapped with travel bans in the next few weeks, which will also affect members of their families.
We will not do business as usual with those who do not support reform or who support violence to achieve political ends.
Justice Minister Mutula Kilonzo admitted to receiving a letter from Johnny Carson.
He's just telling me that we have been friends and they want to see faster reforms.
The U.S. is also warning, albeit in diplomatic terms, that failure to act on corruption, judicial reforms, constitutional review, and trial of suspects of the post-election violence could lead to a substantial reduction and closer scrutiny on all funding and loan requests to the international financial institutions.
And in fact, I will tell you that I already had a phone calls from a couple of these individuals who have indicated a desire to sit down and to talk to me and explain what they're doing to support reform and to talk about what more they can be doing.
And so the hammer has evidently begun to fall on those individuals within the government suspected of frustrating the reform process. And as is usually the case, the rest of the international community could fall in with their own methods of trying to push the reform agenda. But will those individuals within the government get the message and try to make any tangible steps that could convince the rest of the world that they are serious? No, Tino KTN at the U.S. Embassy residence in Nairobi.